Kathryn, thank you so much for the people who are joining us in person this morning, as well as all of the people who are joining us via live stream. Our early bird special started during the pandemic, and we decided that we would keep it for all our virtual friends. So our opening keynote this morning is on branding. It's by my friends from Posture Interactive, and please allow me to introduce them. Kathryn Bondi is currently Digital Design Manager at Posture Interactive, an advertising agency in Scranton that focuses on website design and digital marketing. She has been building brands online with a group of incredibly creative minds for 6+ years and lives and breathes all things web and branding. She was previously creative director for the web team at NetDriven, an internet marketing company where she mastered the art of making the tire industry look exciting. Kathryn served on the board of directors for the American Advertising Federation of NEPA for 10 years and is currently communications secretary on the AAF district board. She graduated from Marywood University with her BFA in graphic design, where she is currently an adjunct instructor in the graphic design programs, as well as teaching communication graphics at the University of Scranton. Kat has enjoyed mentoring many of her students as design interns and AAF members over the past 10 years. In her spare time, she makes her own cheese. She says, yes, really, and enjoys homebrew beer with her husband, dog, and 2 cats, Kathryn Bondi. Over here on my left, Joey Zarcone spends his days creating brands, fine-tuning messages, packaging products, promoting events, and enhancing digital experiences. With more than 15 years of experience in the creative field, he has worked with brands of all shapes and sizes, near and far. As the marketing director at Posture, Joey thrives on collaboration between clients and creative teams. He also graduated from Marywood University with a BFA in graphic design, where he is also an adjunct instructor in the graphic design department. Get that sense these guys are kind of close. Joey has dedicated countless hours of time and talent to local nonprofit organizations and arts and education initiatives in our local community. He currently serves as vice chair of the board at the Everhard Museum. Outside of work, you'll likely find Joey whipping up something in the kitchen or creating a mess with his latest DIY obsession. Joey, Kat, let's ask some questions. Let's have these guys go. Welcome, good morning, get us started.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone, good morning.
That was great. That was very enthusiastic. Like, I wasn't even expecting
Can I
that.
get it one more time? Good morning.
Oh my gosh, wonderful.
I'm so glad we have a crowd this week. Thank you all for being here today. We're so excited to talk about branding. And thank you for that wonderful introduction, Don. I'll tell you a little bit about us real quick. Kat and I are just 2 of the members of the team that makes up Posture Interactive. And we're a crazy group of people that hail from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where our agency focuses on these 4 pillars of branding, websites, marketing strategies, digital content, video production, and a whole bunch of other things. But what we're here to talk today about is what that is all really rooted in, which is really strong brands. But really, what is a brand and why is it important? Let's start off with a little activity, because we think that you probably know more about this topic than you realize. So let's take a look at some brands. And I don't want you to read. It's too early in the morning. No reading. Just look at these brands. And I want you to just shout out, or if you're on the line with us, go ahead and enter the chat so that you're participating right along with us. We see things you are saying. We have some moderators here. But let's go ahead and flip through these. And I just want you to shout out, don't read. Tell me the brand you see. Don't read!
No, don't read! How about this? Yeah.
Not a lot of soda drinkers, I guess.
Amazon, yeah. They don't drink soda. They like ice cream.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I told you not to read it, and you actually listened to that, thank you. Why did you know what they were? What was it that made you know these brands, even though they were saying, they were typing out the names of their competitors? What do we think?
Shapes and colors, I remember there.
Fonts, shapes, else? Colors, style, you guys are killing me. These are all wonderful things. So what we're here to talk about today is exactly what you just experienced, which is branding is the process of creating a distinct identity for your business, and usually you're targeting a very specific audience that you're speaking to with that identity. So Kat, tell us, what are some of the things that would make up a brand identity?
So I think we heard a lot of them in the audience today. So we had logo, tagline, colors, shapes, photography style, tone and voice. So these are things that brands are really always thinking about, right? They have actually brand guides that they put together to really say, hey, this is how we will always talk about our business. So that's why they were able to take those elements and change the words and logos, and we still knew exactly what it was. So looking at this example, you know what brand this is? Bondi, yeah. So they have a very intense brand guide. You can actually post it online, you can look at it if you want. But it's like pages and pages of here's how our rings are, here's how you can change the depth on our rings, the thickness, you can change the colors. These are our exact Pantone swatches and RGB colors and all the different fonts. And then they even go a step further and they say, okay, then when you see our logo with photos, video, or anything else, they have to have a very particular style as well. So they're talking about attitude, like what does the attitude look like in a photo or in a video. So all of this really ties into brand consistency. So that's actually something that Bondi Forbes has the potential to increase revenue by up to 33%. That's actually pretty significant when you think about all you have to do is just be consistent. Not even like talking about marketing tactics and media placement. We're just talking about use the same colors, the same logos, the same fonts, and you're actually going to create this brand recognition. So as we really learned that logos really help us recognize brands in that exercise, right? But it doesn't necessarily need a logo to even be recognized. We have all these elements working together and singing in harmony. There's this consistency that emerges even without seeing a logo. So I'm going to show you a series of ads, and I want you to tell me what these ad campaigns are all from. It's all from the same brand, but there's no logo on any of them. You knew it. You knew it right away, right? So if you look, there's actually no logos on anything. So very careful to remove anything that were in there. But the font, right? You have this imagery style that's very signature of Nike. The black and white photos, or even if you look at the poses that the players are making, it's kind of in like this subconscious Nike swoosh shape, right? With the angle of the leg, the way the foot is coming off the ground, the way the elbows are bent in the swimmer. You're still getting this almost subconscious level of it's Nike. The Nike swoosh is there.
So all of this comes together to really create experiences, and successful brands create an experience for the people who are their customers, their audience, their followers, their supporters, anything like that. And actually, in entrepreneurship, your consumers out there are citing that 73% of them, 73, that's a lot, are basing their purchasing decisions on the customer experience. Now, traditionally, the customer experience can mean a lot of different things, but I think our digital technology world has really altered the customer experience. Where do you think the customer experience is currently happening? Shout it out. Online, social media. Where else?
Newspapers.
Newspapers still.
But it's still very relevant.
It's still there, yeah. We have some other ones. Let's see what we have up here. We have social media, video, print, websites, packaging, point of sale, but now we're also going into all these really great virtual reality experiences, augmented reality experiences. Consumers are touched by brands in so many ways, in so many new ways, that it's just an omnipresent thing that is surrounding us. And that is really to give a human touch to these digital and these physical things. Brands are trying to be and should be a part of your life and acting as another human when really they're so much more. But all these pieces are coming together to give that identity. So with that, humans influence emotions, right? Brands need to do the same. And experiences are how they're doing that. So consumers are endlessly going to favor the brands that are going to fulfill their emotional needs. So as a brand, what do you think are some of the emotional needs that I could potentially fulfill? Just thinking of some of those examples. Shout them out. What's an emotional need a brand could fulfill? Safety. Joy. Satisfaction. These are great. Keep going. Status. Yes. Confidence.
Yeah.
Appetite. These are all great things. We have a couple more up here too. A sense of belonging. Get people on your tribe. Empowerment, that feel good, adventure, innovation, compassion, safety, so many more. But knowing where you're trying to connect with your audience is really the core of a successful brand, and all of these ways are how we execute that. So some examples here. Coke they put it right out there for you. They're not going to dance around it. They want to make you happy. Open a can of Coke and open happiness.
Yeah, I really like that example too because it's like, it's a drink. Like how does it's literally you're just fulfilling a physical need of I'm thirsty, I need a drink. And they're saying, no, it's happiness. This is an emotion you're going to feel.
The speed of safety.
Yeah, so someone else had said safety out there. So I think this is a great example of how that fulfills that emotional need. Like, yeah, a car is like also a status symbol, but it's providing safety. You want to be safe when you're on the road, right?
Hits on several emotions. I love that.
Yeah.
And consumers that have that emotional relationship with a company are going to recommend those brands at a rate of about 71%. And that's huge because right now, people rely on that, again, that human connection. And what is better than a recommendation from a friend or someone online that maybe isn't your friend, but you're reading what they're saying, you're looking at their photos, and you're like, ooh, yeah, you know what? Joey from Georgia, I think he knows the shirt that I want, and I'm going to buy the same one that he did because he told me it's a good idea. But it's that emotional connection that's going to drive that.
So we also have this idea that brand experiences can transcend physical and digital worlds. Oh, it's very heady. So what that means is that brands can actually become a lifestyle and an identity, right? So someone up here, I keep calling back to you, said status, but that is something that we assimilate with brands a lot, is like a status symbol almost. And that's when it goes beyond just, oh, I saw an ad, or oh, I bought this thing, or I saw, I got a social media post. It becomes this whole experience and this whole part of people's personality sometimes. I think a really great example of that is REI. Is everyone familiar? Some of us are really outdoorsy, some of us maybe not so much. But it's an outfitter kind of like Cabela's or any of those. But they have these really great locations that are very experiential, but they build on that experience with having these ads that are saying this is a lifestyle. Like we understand that we're selling like sleeping bags and backpacks, but this is a lifestyle. And people understand that dehydrated beef stroganoff is not something that most people want to eat, but it's something that's part of this camping lifestyle that they're providing access to. Or even saying that, there's this idea of being just you in the outdoors, and that there's not I guess maybe there's a hat and a backpack, but the product is not the focus here. They're showing the outdoors. They're saying this is our product. We're getting you out there. Lifestyle. And even going beyond that and saying we want to actually have an impact too. And you're seeing this a lot now in brands because everyone knows that you guys, Gen Z, really care about this, is authenticity and people being accountable and being sustainable. So they're going that next step and saying we're not just going out in the outdoors, we're trying to impact the outdoors as well. So they had this Opt Outside campaign where instead of people shopping on Black Friday, that they would go post things about being outside instead. Really great campaign and also connected to a lot of people, which leads into the next point of brands know how to talk to you. Then we're seeing this more and more and more in our digital spheres, right? So I want to show you some examples and kind of get an idea of what tone these ads are conveying. How are they talking to us? What do you think? What is this one saying? Shout it out. Safety again, yeah, or privacy. It's a very stern tone, right? They're not messing around. What about this one? It's goofy, right? This is we know what our product is. We know Doritos is Doritos. We know you want to have it with a cool Mountain Dew while you're playing Xbox. We don't care. We are goofy and we're out there. What about this one? It's emotional. I heard someone say very emotional, right? This is because you think about something as ubiquitous as Google. You're so used to just typing, and their job here was to change that tone and say, we're here for more than that. We're here to, this was, I think, the Super Bowl ad from this year where they showed this old man kind of going through memories of his late wife and like everyone cried. It was wonderful.
So sad.
But that was great tone. The way they set the tone in that ad was saying, we're more than a search engine. We're more than that. We can help you by like having these different pieces of our application that can show you photos and help you remember things. So why is tone important for a brand? Anyone know? Why do you think? This is tough. We're getting into like the real heady stuff here.
And when we say tone, we mean not just what is being said, but like Kat mentioned, how it's being said. Of that Apple one was very specific of privacy, period, safety. It was very direct versus Flaming Hot is a little more playful.
I would say because we're all like human being and we're emotionally driven. So
Yeah.
by setting the tone to impact like express emotion, it will be very impactful to our main pieces.
Very well said.
Yeah, to recap for anyone online who may not have heard, emotional connection is what was said in the audience here as a big driver of why tone is important, because we're humans. We need to talk to each other like humans, right?
Well, and I
very
think-
well said.
And I think one of the things here, too, that we have at the top of the list, it tells a story. When you set a tone, like that Google example we saw, you're not just saying, use our search engine, you're telling a story of how people use that search engine and why it's important to them. And that is the emotional connection. That is how you reach humans. And believe it or not, 88% of consumers say that authenticity is important. I believe 88% of this room would agree. So let's take a look at how other brands look at tone. So this is a brand that actually we use a lot at Posture, but it's a application that manages tasks. And so how do you take a task manager application and make that have tone? It's a very interesting challenge. But they actually have in their so we looked at those guides earlier today. They have a guide that says, here's how we always talk about Asana. So it is approachable, it is quirky, it is empowering, and they have all these things that are saying Asana doesn't take ourselves too seriously, Asana keeps it real. These are all ways that they are saying it's okay to talk about ourselves like this. So any advertising or digital ads that you would get will probably sound like this. They'll have this kind of tone, this kind of imagery. Even looking back at our friends at Audi and their wonderful brand guide, they have all of these tenets that they're saying we are ahead of our time, we are confident, we are cultivated, we are inspiring. These are all things that you will always feel or have that tone coming across when you look at an ad from Audi.
And with all of this, brands need to know who they're talking to. So knowing their audience is so important, and this is kind of bringing it all together. So the look that we're giving to it, the what we're saying, the how we're saying it. So let's take a look at a couple ads and maybe just shout out first, who do you think we're targeting in some of these ads?
Yes,
Parents.
parents.
3 a.m. and the baby's sleeping, that's we're targeting happiness, I believe would be the emotion, right?
Women, but all women, right? Like the whole range. We're not just talking like young, pretty, like anyone can feel confident with Maybelline, right?
Maybe she's born with it.
Maybe. Kids.
Kids. I feel like an imagination emotion is really strong here.
Yeah.
Legos could be anything. Okay, so why is the audience important? So we just said we know we need to target the audience. Here's some ways we target the audience, but why is that important? You want them to buy stuff. Yes. Or it could be you want them to, content, so I was looking to see what words we had there. We want them to be more memorable, but the end goal, we want them to buy stuff. We want them to support the cause. We want them to come to the event. We want them to buy the product. But how we do that is by really getting a tight content strategy and making sure that that brand is relatable, is memorable, and is targeting that specific audience that will help us get to that goal.
Yeah, I really like the word relatable there because I think looking at that Pampers ad, right, it was that 3 a.m. feeling and the baby's asleep. Any parent that's been up all night with a child will understand that feeling. That is a very relatable moment.
So how do we define our target audience, Kat?
So what we do when we look at audiences, so this is something we actually do at our agency with websites, but a lot of other companies will do this as well to kind of segment out their audience and understand who they are talking to. So these are called user personas. We call them user personas because we talk about website users and how people are using a website. But it's really to say, how are we addressing the needs of this person? How are we addressing the needs of this consumer? What are they looking for? What are the things that they like about our brand or maybe need from our brand? What are their challenges? What things don't they like? and really taking a look at the whole picture and kind of breaking that out into these aren't like essentially real people per se. They're really taking parts of their demographic and making people represent them. But it really helps us kind of talk to them and say, okay, well, if Maria were shopping for us, what would she be looking for? Versus if Clark were shopping for us, what would he be looking for? So really an interesting way that brands just try to define their audience a little bit more. And it's a really great exercise. If you're into creative writing, if you're a writer, I love doing these exercises because then you can kind of write little stories for them. So one of the other things that we get out of this whole idea of an audience is that branding builds a sense of community and belonging. So we talk a little bit about brand loyalty. Has anyone ever heard brand loyalty before? Sound kind of familiar? That really helps everyone kind of get on the same page and say, you know what, we're all from different backgrounds, but we all feel like this brand this is it. It aligns with what we want. And a lot of way that they're doing that now is with something that you see a lot on social media that has to do with celebrities or maybe not so celebrities, but it's a big word that I feel like everyone in here knows. Maybe you know what I'm getting at if you want to shout it out.
Close.
Oh, yeah. Influencers, right? So we have, really it started with celebrity influence. So we have our friend Ryan Reynolds here, has his own aviation gin. But this is an example of a celebrity influence, right? So this is someone who already has the power, already has that, that money, and he has his own product, and he's using that to push his own product, right? So we also have products that already exist, but we have people on social media also getting behind those products. So something like Neutrogena or a skincare brand, or if you have other like fitness products, we see it a lot with too. So this is a girl that has a decent following, isn't necessarily a celebrity though, but she's using her influence on social media to support this product. So you're seeing this a lot now. You're probably getting a lot of this in your Instagram feeds, your TikTok feeds. We see it a lot with TikTok, even just subconscious product placement, right? So she's always, what's her name? Charlie D'Amelio. She doesn't come up on my feed, guys. Okay, I have a slightly older feed. The algorithm doesn't get that for me. But she has a lot of, Dunkin' Donuts in her shots, or like people will have like certain makeup that they're using, and that's becoming really big on TikTok, right? We're using this to create social influence. So this is something that we really love in the world of branding because it's helping build that loyalty. Well, I already follow her, so if she likes this, then yeah, I think I can get behind that too. And 79% of people agree that user-generated content highly impacts their purchasing decisions. That's becoming huge on TikTok.
We're almost at time if we want to spin through.
Yeah.
What we're saying here is that brands know what people are saying about them, and those influencer piece of it really fuels the user-generated content. But that could happen in places even like user reviews, like we had mentioned, or social media engagement, and that's something that brands are paying so much attention to and really trying to manage their digital reputation to maximize that, because the impact of those organic conversations are sometimes more impactful than a billboard could be. So all of that together, what does this all boil down to that we've just woke you up and rambled about brands for a minute? What we're saying is that your branding is so many things to your business. It is the look, it is the feel, it is the experience, it is the tone, it is the personality, it is the human touch. It is all of that. It is not a logo. It is so much more. And why does it matter? Well, it matters because it creates a human emotional connection that is going to last. And that's going to make you go to the grocery store and you're not going to read the Coke can. You're just going to know, I like the red can with the cursive writing on it because it makes me happy, because they told me it's going to make me happy, and I'm going to get that can. But really, it's a bigger thing than recognizing a logo. It's an emotional connection.
And that's it. So, like, follow, find us on all of our media. We're on TikTok.
I think we have time for a couple questions.
So one of the things you guys are going to learn that you are, for those who are in person, is TechBridge starts on time, ends on time. So here's what I want you to do. If you are in person and have a question, I'll take one or two right now, but do me a favor, hit them up, go ask them, introduce yourself, and create a conversation, right? Anybody in the audience got a real quick question before we move on? It's early, come on, somebody's got a question, right? Thank
Someone
you
has
so
a question
much.
up here.
Here
I
we
see
go,
it.
here we go.
Okay, so Do you think that more company will be using social media as like a more cheaper alternative than to basically using billboards and so on into the future, since social media influence have been growing so much?
Did you say cheaper? Like
like
cost-wise, like ad placement-wise, you think? I think it's interesting the way that since social media has changed and our ecosystems have grown so much, budgets have really been changing that. Like maybe at one time, an organic post was easy to connect with people and cheaper than a billboard, but now in the metaverse, ad placement on social media has grown to such a thing that companies are altering their budgets, that rather than spending thousands of dollars on a billboard, they will put money behind social media. But some of the influencer and relationship type stuff, I think, is that grassroots effort to try to get more organic chatter, and brands are definitely moving in that direction.
Guys, one more over here.
Stand up. Kat, I have a question. What got you into making cheese? Like, was it social media?
It was actually my job at Wegmans.
Oh, nice. And what's your favorite type of cheese?
My favorite type of cheese is Manchego.
I like that too. It's Spanish. Spanish cheese. It's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right, I said ask questions, and he took me up on it, right? Okay.
That was a good question.
How about for Kat and Joey? What do you say?
Thank you, guys.
Okay, just give us a second. We will be doing the opening keynote in about 5 minutes, and we will have a bunch more people coming in. So thanks and stay tuned.